Margaret Riggs. She was a dynamic woman of a certain level socially in Rutherford, who saw what was going on and decided that women had to have conversations and more things than just their children and their husband. And she was the founding person and the driving force. She thought that there was more to life than, as I mentioned, and she also felt that there was so much going on in Rutherford. She was socially very active, and she felt that it was time to be involved in things, and that she had a lot of good ideas. And so basically she gathered the women and started to meet in her home and talk about founding a club. In the research that I've done, they make mention of that. The club already had been founded. The building was built in 1888, and she founded the club in 1889. And all of the movements, the Industrial Revolution, everything else that was going on, she was very aware of. So that they did be involved in the suffrage movement. I don't think they were a driving force in the beginning. I think as it moved, they got involved. The club that she founded started as a reading club, and she knew that there was need for a public library. So one of the largest projects was the establishment of the Rutherford Public Library through all the membership, which grew to be hundreds of members, so that it was not, they were not the head of the library. They devised and came up with the plan of how to get to be the library. And that also in addition to Lincoln Park. She also was a driving force with the club members in the Lincoln Park establishment, which a lot of people don't realize. I think, except that our lives have changed and most people are working and doing a lot of multitasking, I don't think it's changed much. I think that the driving force to make life better for people, make a place for membership, but primarily to have an idea to improve lives of others. And that is exactly where we are today. When we go back to the archives, of which we have a lot, and we see what they did, and we correlate it with us, it's not so different. It may be a different cause, but it's the same thing. I mean, we're so involved with the veterans and the food bank and the homeless and a shelter for children. I could go on and on. So that, but the impetus is exactly the same. We feel that all of us who have been fortunate enough to have any brains and any ability to get ourselves together should give back, and that's what we do. It basically is an old groom stable house, which belonged to the Iviswold castle. The castle is now part of Felician College. And at the time, David Iviswold had very, very wealthy, very deep pockets. And he, in 1888, had an architect build a great many buildings for him, including our building. And it was used for years to store many of the things, and the groomsmen lived actually where we're seated at the moment, lived up here. And this second level was totally different because it wasn't quite finished. But as we did the research for a preservation grant, we found that this was an active home, including members of his family, and who were all taking care of the carriages and the horses. And there are still remnants in this building of hooks and other police showing what exactly happened in this building. It became the home of the Women's Club when they purchased it for $15,000 in 1924 and paid off their mortgage 25 years later. And so it has been our home, beloved home, for all these years. I believe it was in the 80s that Rutherford recognized the building for Rutherford and being on the listing of the historical buildings. And then as we started to see that a lot of Rutherford was changing and land was being purchased, we were concerned because we have a beautiful piece of property on a corner of two beautiful streets. And we said, how can we protect our building and how can we have it for many, many more generations? So we started to do the research, and we were involved with Annabelle Radcliffe Trenner, who is the head architect at Felician College. She did all of that work. And we sat down many times and went over what's required to get on the National Registry. And you have to also get on the state. So we were novices. We knew nothing about it. But we went through all our archives for almost 2 years, getting all of our facts together, writing up this tremendous grant so that we could become on the National Registry. We went down and spoke before the Historical Society and just told them all the facts, supplemented it with all the papers. And after much waiting, they said, yes, you are now on the state and you are on the national, which is, of course, part of the United States Parks Department. The purpose of it was twofold. One, to really make everybody in the local area aware of the building. It's amazing how many people are not aware of the building and what we do. We also knew that we have a 1-year, a 5-year, and a 15-year plan under preservation, which is required over $1 million. So that we are applying for grants, and so far we have won 2 and lost 1. So in the meantime, we said, let's get a big, large mailing out to everybody in the local area. It has been astounding, the amount of contributions that are coming in. Some are very small, some are very large, but it doesn't matter because everybody's very interested. And now in the fall, when we come back to meet again, we will take people on tours of the building, explain to them all about it, because we feel it's of value. And in a world we live in now where the bulldozer comes and history's gone, you basically have to fight for what you really believe in. And we do believe that it's a valuable building, and the work that we do, we want to continue. The members today are really diversified. We have some who were juniors, who then, when their children became older, became our members. But the vast majority of them are women who have all had careers or have had at a home life, whatever. They all bring something. It's amazing because we have doctors and accountants and business owners and professional dancers. It is very diversified as far as the walks of life and where people have come from. You know, we have members from different countries, and we're proud of that because our club is open to everybody. And we know it's hard. It's hard to become a member and commit. We understand that, and it takes time. But what we say to everybody when they come, if you have 5 minutes or you have all the time in the world, we'll take it because we need your help. And we have wonderful, wonderful get-togethers. When we do our fundraising, our chef's night or our annual teas, they're fun. We're raising money for all the good things we have to do, but they're fun, and the general public loves it and wants to know when it's going to happen again, which it will soon.